Hey, it's Eric from Alabama.
And I'm Gerry in Boston. We want to welcome our listeners from the United States and around the world. It's another Sunday podcast. Hello, my friend.
Hello there.
How are you?
How are you?
I am better than I deserve. How are you doing?
I'm doing well.
Good to hear. Good to hear. We have some very astute listeners out
This
there.
is true. This is very true.
They, after last week's episode that we aired from The Wonder of It All, the Foxwoods Casino, we received a couple of messages, and I received a couple of text messages as well, saying, "What? No Mother's Day episode on Mother's Day?" No, actually, this is a belated Mother's Day episode. Last Sunday was, in fact, Mother's Day, and I thought it would be good that we could come on after Mother's Day and talk about Mom, and also talk about maybe what we did on Mother's Day last week. And honestly, a lot of these episodes are recorded a week or two or three in advance, so honestly, I screwed up and did not pay attention to the date. So that's the story behind the story, the real story, the truth.
We're just thinking about ourselves over here, so we're not too concerned with Mother's Day or, no, we're just worried about getting podcasts out. No.
That's not exactly true. Getting podcasts out though is something that we're doing, and I always like to thank our listeners at the beginning of the show, middle of the show, end of the show. They are the reason why we are still here, and it is it's great that they listen every week. Even though some of our episodes are not as exciting sometimes as other episodes, especially we seem to get a lot of great hits and comments when we have guests, and then sometimes not so much when it's just you and I rapping. But that's all part of putting out a podcast every single week. They're not all going to be gems, but they are all real. Turn on the microphones and just talk about whatever happens to be going on that day or that week or whatever like that. So, but I just wanted to thank everybody for sticking with us and listening to these 24 episodes so far. Thank you. Mother's Day. How was your Mother's Day?
My Mother's Day? Well, you'd have to ask my mom.
Well, unfortunately, Mom's not with us. Meaning on the podcast. Clarify. Mom is with us. She's alive and well, but she's not here. She's not here today. But you I assume you went and saw Mom.
Yes, yeah. Actually, so for the listeners out there who don't know, Gerry surprised me with a very generous graduation gift from, and we are by no means paid to advertise for them, but he got me some steaks from the Kansas City steak company. And oh my gosh, those are awesome. And so they came in the week before Mother's Day. And so I figured, hey, we'll just have them for Mother's Day. So that's what we did. We went over to the folks' house and I grilled up some steaks and we all cooked for Mom. Usually Mom cooks for us. So we decided to cook for Mom. And it was an awesome meal. Thank you, Gerry, for the steaks. Oh my gosh, they were so good.
You're very welcome. I'm glad you enjoyed it, and congratulations, by the way, on graduating and receiving your master's degree, and welcome to the real world, and good luck to you, my friend.
Thank
No,
you.
you're going to be very successful, I'm sure. So I met your mom back in 20, was it 18? I think when I was visiting down there, and delightful woman, and I met her. I think at the show, the band show, and then I met her the following day at the Oktoberfest. Her and your dad, and we got to talk a little bit. Like I said, just a wonderful wonderful woman. Why don't you tell the listeners a little bit about mom? What makes her so special?
Moms are special. You know, growing up, I remember being little and my mother reading to me and taking care of me, and my dad was at work, and so she was the one who took care of us most of the day, before we started going to school and everything. That was some of my first memories. And she would, I she would take time to read to me, and I remember like those little children's books, like the Margaret Hiller books, um where it says the balloon goes up, 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 and the words go up the page, those books. And we would read those when I was a kid or whatever. And but she was always investing in me and developing me and helping me. Um and as I got into the teenage years, uh she uh she got into cooking a lot. And I think a lot of it was trying to be, um she wanted to produce cheap and healthy meals for her family, and so she got into cooking and just started making these awesome meals. But that was the thing, I as a kid coming home from middle school and even in high school, I would come home from school and I'd play drums, I would go for a run, and then I would come home and I would help my mom cook. And I would help her cook, and we would sit there and we would listen to music. We would turn on the radio and listen to the classic rock station, and we would jam out, but we would also talk about the day and talk about things that were going on. Sometimes she had to kind of fish those things out of me because being a teenager, you don't want to talk about all that stuff or whatever. Sometimes she would ask me, she would be like, "So, how was your day?" That was another thing my mom did. She always asked me, "How was your day?" And even though every day I would just say, it was okay. And that was it. Sometimes that would be all that I said. But she would still ask me every day, "How was your day?" And sometimes, I would just say, it was okay. Or sometimes over while we were cooking dinner, we would talk about it. And then we'd eat dinner as a family, and me and my dad and my mom and my sister, we'd all talk about our days. We would talk about history or politics or whatever, whatever crazy topic came up. We would sit there and talk, and then we would go watch TV for an hour or two and then go to bed and start the day over. But my mom was always there for me, is still always there for me. No, moms are very special.
There's nothing like a mom who, as you say, is always there for you, and whether it's to comfort you when you fall off your bike, or you skin your knee or something. It was always mom that was there with the Bactine spray,
Right.
on you, and the Band-Aid, and the
Yeah.
and the kiss on the forehead and stuff like that when you're a kid.
But
Yeah.
and there's something to say too. That's the good thing. That's good. You know, and sometimes dad needs to be there to go, suck it up, son. Get back on and try it again. But and there's it takes both. You have to have the mother who cares, and is very, you know like you said, you ride the bike and you scrape your knee, you fall off. That happened to me as a kid. And you have to have the mom who's there going, oh, is everything okay? Oh, we can go to the doctor. We'll put some this on it. We'll put a Band-Aid on it. But, at the same time, you need that balance of the father at the same time going, suck it up, son. Get back on and ride your bike.
No, well, we won't slight dads in this episode, but or slight them at all. But we'll do a Father's Day episode as well. We'll talk about dads,
Yeah.
as well in a month or so when Father's Day lands. But you're right. Moms always seem to be, even if they were. They're just trying to make you feel better. I don't want to say they're lying when they say, you're going to be okay, because of course you're going to be okay. But they would always try to say, no, you don't worry about this. And
Moms are oftentimes, and parents in general, both mothers and fathers can oftentimes, I mean, they've been around a heck of a lot longer than we have. So they're a depository of wisdom and knowledge because they've already gone through all the stuff that we've gone through, plus some. So they have that knowledge and wisdom in order to impart to their children. It's always good to listen to your parents.
yeah, I can remember Mom saying, "Don't think you're getting away with something or you're inventing something new," because she did it, And my mom was really great with phrases like, you got to go to sleep sometime. And yeah, so that was always a thing that my mom would remind us that we're not reinventing the wheel here. I've been here. You can do that. Like smoking, when I started smoking cigarettes, my mom smoked up until the time I was born, or until the time she was pregnant with me. She quit. But it wasn't like, smoking is bad for you. You shouldn't do it. I forbid you. It's like, you know what? I've done it. This is why I quit. It's not good for you. You've got to learn for yourself. We didn't have that kind of education, So she would get into the logic of why. Most of the time, the logic of why she was saying the things she was doing. Then there were those times it's like, because I said so.
Yeah.
I give the orders, you just follow them out. I don't have to explain them. I'm Mom,
Now, all these memories started coming up. I didn't even think about
Go for it.
But no. No, I don't want to share all that stuff. So.
Anything funny? Like that you fondly remember that is like,
yes, but I can't tell it on this podcast. I've already told my friends, and if I tell the whole world, my mother will kill me.
Okay. All right. So, that's we don't want that to happen. So, you'll have to enlighten me off the air on what that's all about. But I think we all kind of have those secrets. And my mom, I know my mom listens to the podcast from time to time, and which is pretty cool. She's 82 years old and she's got a smartphone and she knows more about it than I do. And finding podcasts, and she's on Facebook and all this other stuff.
My mother is on Facebook more than I am, and she's like, "Hey, I saw this thing on Facebook," and she's telling me, she's like, I know you never get on Facebook, but I sent it to you anyway on Facebook," and I'm like, "Mom, I'm never going to see it because I'm never on Facebook." I know, but I saw this thing or whatever,
Yeah,
both of my parents are like, and maybe Mom more so than Dad, but on Facebook all the time. And I'm the millennial who's supposed to be on there, and I'm like,
right.
I'm done with that,
Yeah, well, Facebook was a whole funny thing. It was set up for college-age kids originally, and then it ended up being people like my generation that went berserk on it. I'm not on Facebook anymore. I got rid of it a long time ago.
Well, and it's a good way to catch up with friends that you haven't seen for years, and that's what my parents...
Exactly, and that's what my mom is doing, is there are people that see her pop on through, either searches or other friends or whatever, and so she's connecting with people that she hasn't probably talked to in decades.
Yeah.
So it's kind of good in that way. There's the dangerous side too. I have to keep, you got to kind of warn her. Don't be careful. Be careful when you reply to somebody, or like she's into email and stuff, and just be careful when you reply to all, because sometimes you don't want to reply to all. So
Yeah.
it's just great to see, she's into the technology thing, and I still can't get the 12 o'clock to stop flashing on my VCR, so. And on the microwave, it's just, the hell with it.
But you said VCR, which gives away your age right there.
Thank you for reminding me.
Luckily, I am still young enough or old enough to remember VCR.
Well, you
So,
missed out on a lot of stuff, and that's an episode coming up for another time. We're going to talk about the difference in the generations and kind of interesting stuff that I had done. But today, it's all about Mom.
so Jerry, what about your mom?
What about her?
Well, I mean, what did she mean to you growing up? What were the memories that you have about your mom?
My mom, as I said, is 82 years old. She has more energy than I ever had in my life. She's still out there driving. She is very independent when it comes to doing things. She was always like that. I remember growing up, my mom had her friends, my dad had his friends, and then they had their friends. And I know when my dad passed away nearly 30 years ago, Mom, because she was independent, was able to deal with that fairly well. Of course, I have several siblings as well, and we had a large family to help through that. But that was one thing that I noticed is how she took that situation of losing her husband after many years, married almost 30. I think they're married 30 years, and getting on with her life and not having it be such the interruption that it could have been. But she is a remarkable woman, and she was the one that was always there. If I came home crying because I was bullied, or I don't know, I was always crying about something. If it fell down and, skinned the knee, or somebody looked at me cross-eyed or whatever, I was a big old baby growing up. But Mom was always there to put the Bactine on it. Bactine, for the listeners that don't know what I'm talking about, it's sort of like an antiseptic. And put the Band-Aid on, and, she was the one that would call into work, or call into school or whatever. And, he's not coming in. Write the note, whether I was, sick or not. I told her I was sick, but she would do things like that. And even today, it's like, I'm going to the grocery store. What do you need? I'm good, or constantly taking care of the family.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
I think keeping herself busy is what is allowed her to to continue to be this strong woman. And she's always been a strong woman, caring, loving, but could rule with the iron fist if she needed to. She was more the disciplinarian than my dad. You wanted Mom to discipline you. If it went to Dad, different story, right? So it was like, okay, take the punishment from Mom, because if it goes to Dad, it might be a lot louder and a lot longer sentence, And I like TV, and I like driving his car. But she was always there to listen. Always felt I could tell her anything in the world, what was going on, and again, how was your day? Always asked about friends. Always asking about other people that were either friends of mine, or how was work, or different things. Pointing out things she might hear in the news or see in the newspaper, or just protective. She was the protector, and she protected us from everything and anything, and sometimes to a fault. And as we got older, it's like, we're used to mom, being there to take care of that. And now as an adult, it's like, oh, you know what? I got to fight these battles myself, or I got to deal with this somehow myself. So, and it's funny as we grow up and mom takes care of us, it comes a point when the axis kind of shifts and we start to take care of them.
Right.
And I couldn't be more prouder and happier to do that. And not that she needs a whole lot of help. Again, very independent. Where are you going? I'm going to the doctor. Oh, do you need somebody? Nope, I'm all set. I'll be back in. Whatever. I'm going to Maine and get in the car and drive to Maine. 82 years old, driving to Maine. It's like, man. Yeah. So I find that as she gets older, as we all get older, and like I said, that axis kind of shifts, and so it's now watching out a little bit more, especially in today's world of technology, because there's a whole bunch of scams out there, and it's like, my mom is probably the most friendly and was involved in everything, I should say, also, not just friendly, involved in everything, whether it was school volunteer projects or volunteering at the school or working at the school or taking care of kids. She was involved in everything. She worked for a historical society here in town, outselling raffle tickets and calendars and trying to raise money. And then she worked in a boys and girls club and volunteered over there for a whole number of years. I mean, she was always active and always willing to give herself. The mail that comes to her house, the junk mail that comes to her house from every damn organization in the country and in the world has her name on it because she will donate to everybody. And it's just, I mean, the mailman gets a hernia sometimes just delivering the mail to the house because there's just so much. It's every organization. And if, whether it's $1 or whatever she gives, she'll write out a check and donate to the organization. Of course, they all sell their list. So it's like, everybody send to Jerry's mom. Send this to Jerry's mom because chances are you're going to get something. So, yeah, she was just wonderful. Wonderful like that. And I used to tease her, tell her she was like Florence Nightingale because she would help all of our neighbors here. At one time, with a lot of elderly neighbors, and she would literally take care of she'd go over the house, make them dinner, or make sure they were, the house was clean. She was cleaning houses at 80 years old. Right before the pandemic, she was still out there going to houses and cleaning people's homes. Always keeping busy. Just an amazing, amazing woman. Yeah, I love her to death. She's, I keep saying she's going to outlive me because she just got that, that energy and that, she got that, the gene. My grandma, her mom lived to almost 90. So there's longevity on that side of the family. So yeah, just wonderful. I could go on and talk about mom for hours. So Mother's Day, I took her to the local casino here in Boston, and they have a steakhouse there, and we went over there and we had a nice meal, and I took her out to the gaming floor, and she played a little slots, had a little fun for a little bit, won a few bucks, put a few bucks back, and just had fun, and so it was a good day all around. It was fun to hang out with Mom for the day. We don't do it often enough, and we got to do more of that. And yeah, so that was how I spent my Mother's Day.
Yeah, no, you're right. A lot of those things that you mentioned remind me of things about my own mom. And like you said, we could go on for hours and hours and hours of memories and things. But you're right. Moms are special. They're always there for you. Even when I go every Sunday, I'll go eat with my folks at my parents' house, and They're always, mom is always there going, hey, I went to the store and I got you a gallon of milk. Let me send it with you. Or I've got leftovers that we're not going to eat. Let me send it with you. And of course, me being a single guy and being super busy, I'm like, okay, but at sometimes it's like, mom, I've got it. I'm okay. If I need something, I'm going to go to the store. I've got money. I've got a job. I'm okay. I appreciate it. So I really appreciate it, but you know, I'm on my own now, so I can handle myself. But they're always, like you said, they're always looking out after you. And that, you know, that's been a good thing, even recently, sometimes when you just need to talk to somebody about something that's going on, you just call your mom. You say, Mom, let me just vent to you.
That's the big thing. Moms will always listen.
Yes.
They'll and advise sometimes, especially share experiences. And I think the gallon of milk and here's some leftovers or something. I think it's that's just the mother's love, and
Yes.
even and I think it also makes them feel good and satisfied that they don't want to lose that because I'm not a parent, so I wouldn't know. What it would be like to have children who grow up and leave the house. Some parents will say, "Oh, finally, empty nest or whatever." But I think they still want to feel somewhat useful or helpful, or they're satisfied to say, "Hey, you know what? They're always doing the motherly things."
Yes.
And so if mom gives you a gallon of milk, whether you need it or not, take the damn gallon of milk, and the extra leftovers or
Well,
whatever,
but
because
sometimes
it makes them
moms
feel
will
good.
give you things at their own expense, and so it's like, Mom, you use it for what you need, it's like,
Mom is a better Mom is a better man than I am. I'll tell you that. She's a better person than I. Gungadeen. She's just an awesome woman, and like I said, I love her to death. So to all of the moms that are listening, a belated Happy Mother's Day to you. Hope you had a great Mother's Day. And to my mom, I love you very much. And thank you. Eric, final word to you.
for all the mothers out there, just remember to roll with the changes.
It's Another Sunday Podcast. It's produced by Erich and Gerry. Technical advisor is Tom Beladew. Music composed and performed by Tom Blaze. Check out Tom's YouTube channel at Tom Blaze. Once again, thanks for listening to It's Another Sunday Podcast. Happy belated Mother's Day to all of our moms out there. Thank you for everything that you do, and thanks for listening.